Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Arena Talks. Today we will talk about the memoirs of Patrick Steward, Making It So. This book is a Sunday Times bestseller and I can highly recommend it to read it or to listen it because Patrick Steward also audio his own audiobook of this memoirs of him. And the he writes it well as he acts with insight, truth, and passion. That's what Sir Ian McCallis said, and you know, it is, I think, one of the long-awaited memoirs of him because he is quite old and he has a lot of to tell and he has a lot of what he's done in his life and career, and he's just gonna give a little insight of it. And so this is about his whole life, his whole career. So this is not only his time when he was on Star Trek. So there are a lot of stories that he told you, and it is very, I don't want to say, it's personal, it's entertaining, and it's something you might never know as someone who isn't in that in that world, in the acting world or theater world. From his acclaimed stage triumphs to his legendary on-screen work, Sir Patrick Steward captivated audiences around the world and across multiple generations in a career spanning 6 decades with his incredible command of stage and screen. No other British working actor enjoys such career variety, universal respect, and unending popularity as witnesses to his seminal roles, whether it is as Captain Picard in Star Trek or Professor Charles Xavier of the Marvel X-Men hit film franchise. His more than 40 years as part of the Royal Shakespeare Company and in such critically lauded roles for Hamlet and the Tempest of the West End and Broadway. His unforgettable one-man show adapted from Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, or his comedic work in American Dad, TED Extras, and Blunt Talks, among many others. Now he presents his long-awaited memoirs, Making It So, a revealing portrait of a driven artist whose astonishing like from his humble and hard-scrabble beginnings in Yorkshire to the dazzling heights of Hollywood and worldwide acclaim proved a story as exuberant, definitive, and enduring as the actor himself. So I don't know what the rating is for this book on IMDb. Let me check real quick. I don't think it will be on there. Or let me see if I can find a rating. Okay, so from the 5 stars of ranking you can get, he will get over 4 stars. So it's pretty high, and I must say I really was. I'm loving this book, and like I said, I have not read it, but I have listened to it as in a audiobook, and I really loved how he told his story and what he's been through, and there were some things I didn't know about him, and you know, he became very vulnerable in it, and also when I can imagine when he was recording this as an audiobook, I think he would have um, there's gonna be so much memories back, and his youth wasn't that great, but he make something out of it. And I must say that there were moments that I was thinking, geez, this man is so much in, he knows so much and in history and in the roles he plays. And you know, although thinking back now, I just rewatched Dune for the first time, like for the first time, for one of the episodes again. And of course, he has a part of that as well. And I must say, I wouldn't have placed him in the world of Dune, to be honest. And maybe that's because my track heart is speaking, but it was a bit weird to see him in that movie, to be honest. But let's get to the start. So this book is it's very entertainment. It's amusing because he tells you anecdotes that you would say, "Oh my god, I never do that," or "This is so funny." And because we see him most of the time in serious roles, you wouldn't imagine how hilarious it really is. And I remember this interview when he was playing in the first few years as Jean Picard, that he was too serious and he had to learn from his cast crew that he can be a lot of more relaxed and laid back. And I can imagine he is from a, let I say, like Sir Ian McKellen and Christopher Lee, the old guard of theater people. And I don't want to say they are in that way authentic, but also more like they have something to carry on in the way of how they perform. And it's and that's why I think that's the beauty of the Shakespeare Company. It stays true to the story. And I think if we hadn't those plays, young people will never get acquainted to literature as like Shakespeare or Byron or whatever else, because nowadays the youth are too focused on their phones, on the electoral devices, etc. And you know, and in one way I'm some kind of part of it and some kind of not, but you know what I mean. When he talks about his youth, there are some shocking things that he tells, but also nice things. And like I said, he tells it in so much entertainment and amusement that you as listener or reader can totally understand where he's coming from, what he's done, what he has been through, etc. You know, it's quite funny how he started his theater and on-screen career. And I didn't know, for example, that he used to be working first as a journalist for the local paper. And so it's, in one way, I don't want to say I'm surprised that he write his memory like this because of memoirs like this, because he in fact he always have been telling a story, and that's what I really like about him. And so when he started at the papers, he still somewhere had that dream of becoming an actor, and he took a big gamble to go with the Royal Shakespeare Company to go to the to America, and but he eventually he has been honored with roles that nobody can play. And so I know Patrick Steward more as in Captain Picard than in his theater work. Although I must say, the one thing I also have seen is, of course, The Christmas Carol with him. And I love that. He is, I think, in a one way, a very unique actor who I don't think, maybe it's just like in the old days that he, of course, he has been acting for so long that he have been, and that's what I also thought about the diary of Alan Rickman. Also, he did a lot of things that we don't know, and it is very nice to have a look in the backyard in that way, and that's what I had with Patrick Stewart's book as well. It is so beautiful written that I couldn't stop listening, because he read and he wrote it so well that it is like, yeah, it's like a story, and you just want to know what happened next. So he talks a lot about his adventures of becoming that part of Hollywood and theater world, how he became famous and what it did to him, but also about what he stands for, like with the dogs of pit bulls, and that he fostered, and he couldn't take his foster dog to England because it's banned here in England. The other thing that I really love about his story is that he gave details that you normally won't do, and that's what I'm saying. He was very vulnerable, but he tells the things as it is. And still, guys, I have been living here in England for a couple of years now, and I still blunt out to people, stop the crap and get to the point, because we as Dutchies are very direct, and you know that it's not rudeness, it's direct. And the fun part was, I was once in a meeting a few years ago, and the manager was playing around and sugarcoating everything, and I blurted out in front of everyone, stop the crap, get to the point. And that was the things I made, and I had to say, hey guys, I'm a Dutchie, I don't like it being sugar coated, etc. Get to the point. Well, I think Patrick Stewart is an extraordinary man who had been through a lot and did a lot, and from his local newspaper to being this great actor in Hollywood. And you know, it is nice to know that although his family was broken, his first family was broken, um, he still had this acting gig with his son to, I don't want to say, it was not maybe it was a mending process, but who knows what's happened real there. So there was so he got divorced. He got a few other women in his life, and he ended up with Sunny. And I think, of course, this is totally his private life, but life goes how it goes. And in one way, maybe he has been a bit selfish by choosing his career over his family and getting used to that his wife did everything. And I don't want to say that he would take her for granted. Maybe it was his feeling of this is how it goes, and the husband is the breadwinner. Although I must say she worked a lot as well. She had her own career. But I do think it goes how it goes, and I've seen some of the reviews that people find him like a cheater and a womanizer, but I don't think he is. It's just that's how life goes, and there is a reason why things happen. So when he came to Hollywood or to America, it still was hard for him to get anywhere, get roles, but he's more a theater man than TV man or movie man. And once I had seen, I think it was on YouTube, what he actually did in theater, I do see the difference between him as a theater actor and as a movie actor or a TV actor. And I don't want to say it's like he split himself in two, but it's more like, yeah, he approached TV different than theater, and that's completely understandable. But I think and I believe that Star Trek was his first on-screen gig, and he really had to learn how to transition that from theater to TV, because TV was a lot different than being in the theater. In theater is just like 1.5 hours, 2 hours live, and you be there 100%. And of course with TV and movie, you have a lot of waiting, etc, etc, etc. And I think that was a adjustment for him that he needed to learn. But he could learn actors in the TV world a lot of the theater world, because what I noticed about theater people, they bring so much more into when they are on screen than people who just been acting just in TV or movies. And it's a different acting. I don't want to say the acting in TV or movies are bland or in some kind of a low setting, but what I notice is that the theater people are more in the emotion and more in their characters. And so they maybe oversaturate what they are acting. Well, I think Patrick Stewart is a very good example of that. Like also Ian McKellen and Christopher Lee. But yeah, like I said, this book is so entertainment value and it's so a delight. If you know who Patrick Stewart is and what he does, this book is very it's a delight. And I always think as it's like a dessert, you know. And it's the audiobook is about 19 hours of listening, and but because he has written so as he did, it is very easy to read and very easy to listen to, especially in his own voice. What makes it, I don't want to say unique, but it is very comfortable, and it is very because it is his own voice and his own intention in it, what he, of course, his own life and reading on writing, it is easier to listen to. And as like some of the people, like for example Alan Rickman or Michael Dorn, or they have specific unique voices that you recognize right away. So every time I hear Patrick Stewart somewhere, I always say, "Oh, that's Picard." But the fun part was last week I saw a documentary, and he did the narrating, and it is nice to have someone who you know that well narrating something. Of course, he talks a lot about his time on Star Trek. It's about 7-8 years, and the convention after that, because I know he's not really someone who do the conventions. But I must say, the conventions for actors or people who played in someone, played a role, it is very, very hard work on a convention. And I think a lot of fans are forgetting that. So when he does a convention, it's very it's, I don't want to say unique, but it is very it's something you will not want to miss. His whole time with Star Trek, as well in Star Trek TNG as Star Trek Picard, he gave livid an insight how it was working together with Gene Roddenberry and the cast and the writers and the directors, and his flaws, his what he liked about it, what he didn't like about it. But then and that's what I hear a lot of Star Trek actors who are saying that, or people who worked or have worked with Star Trek. You belong to this franchise, then it's a big family, and everyone will be there for you with this grandeur of being. And the nice thing, I think, because it's more than a decade of Star Trek for him, playing this iconic role. And in one way he was lucky with it, because in the first place Gene Roddenberry didn't want him. He didn't want a bold captain. And the funny part was he came back at his own works with, "Oh, let him wear a wig, and I don't want a bald captain," and it didn't work out. But he did like the acting of Patrick Stewart, so he eventually he became the first bald captain we know in Star Trek, and so in all this he has traveled from England to, I believe, Los Angeles, if I'm correct. I have to check that up. Hold on. So I can't find it right away now, but I believe it was Los Angeles that he would travel to and from. Of course, there was another happening in his life, and that was in 2010. That was very important. That's why we know him as Sir Patrick. In 2010, the Queen of England knighted him as Sir, and that was a nice little happening that he is talking about in his book, and how it became, etc., etc. One of his best friends who was there and also married him to Sunny is Ian McKellen. And as we know, those two are two best friends forever in life and whatever else more. So they do their things with happiness and ever after. I don't know if they have played together. Let me check that real quick. Oh yes, of course, in the X-Men series. I totally forgot that. I must say he was really good as a Professor Xavier, but he played, of course, other roles as well. I think if you read his book, his whole life is one big adventure, as well as in his career as is in his private life. Nowadays I think he will tame it down, although I must say for his age, he's 83, he looks very good, and he is very active he's more active than I am, so yeah, I hope he still can enjoy his work for quite a time, but yeah, he comes of age now, and I know he said he still has one TNG movie in him, or Picard movie in him, but yeah, you have to be considerate that with his age, he I don't want to say this that future of he hasn't long to live anymore, but you know what I mean. It's and I'm very it's very respectful that he at this age still acting, still working, and still doing the things he loves. And I think in one way he is fortunate, but in one way he's also, I think he lives for it, you know? It's just like, yeah, his life. So at the end of this book, and I only was saddened by it, that it was finished, cause I love to listen to him. He really, at the end, I was really thinking what a great life he had, what he has all done, and of course, it's not roses and moonshine, because that's life, you know. But I think of rather because it is in one way entertainment value, but it is also there are things that he's telling us that I don't want to say it's a lesson, but it is something you can note as okay, this is how I could do it, or this is how I could react it on it. And because of his age, I think he has a certain wisdom, and he could be in one way I don't want to say being a teacher, a life teacher, but it is more like, yeah, what you always think of old people. They have a certain experience in life. And of course, you can't compare certain years or certain part of centuries as yours, but it still values lessons that you can use in your daily life. So thank you for listening, and join me in 2 weeks for a new episode of Arena Talks. And the next episode will be about Star Trek Strange New World musical episode. What it was really funny, but also good. And well, I will see you then. Of course, you can find the Arena Talks podcast on the YouTube channel and Facebook group. Till next time.